Hello. Okay, first question. Do you hear me and do you hear the wind? So I'll let you guys chew on that. There's a delay. It's kind of annoying. Let's see if this... I did say go live. Oops. Oh, there I am. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I have to turn the volume down on this. This is a bunch of housekeeping stuff. Okay, there's that. Put that aside. I don't need to look at that right now. So, kind of vain about the glasses. Now I'm gonna squint. So that's even more vain stuff. So I want to start early because I want to get a couple of things on. First of all, I'm Maria Langer. I run the Flying in Air channel. That's me that you see sitting in the pilot seat for the videos, the cockpit videos. I just wanted to cover a couple of things about the channel before I get to give a very big hearty thanks to everybody who's bought merchandise from the channel. The hats and the stickers especially. In fact, I have a hat and a sticker here. Here's hats and stickers. The hats are, well, that was weird. It crashed. YouTube crashed on my phone. I mean, can that happen? I guess it can. So I was just thanking everybody for buying merchandise and telling you that it's made it possible for me to buy a second Hero 7. You see we got face front and face back. The first one I had invested in on my own, and the second one I was able to get with the money from the hats mostly. And also I got $100 off because I sent them an old GoPro that I had, a really old GoPro, and they accepted that as a trade-in, and I took $100 off, so that saved me a bunch of money. So I have a few of these hats left. I have lots of stickers. I've switched from Teespring to Etsy, and the reason is that I was not happy with the quality of the Teespring merchandise. I really think that for the amount of money that folks are paying for merchandise, they should get better quality. The hats are a good example of that. I'm wearing one of the Teespring shirts. I don't like the way the logo came out. The color is funky. It's kind of blurred. It's just, I just didn't like it. So I've taken Teespring off the channel, and I've replaced it with links to my Etsy store. I've got new hats coming in black with a red logo, and then also like a maroon color with, I hope it's still there, yeah, maroon with an off-white logo, and they should be here in the beginning of September. And I also have t-shirts coming in a whole variety of sizes. The first batch are going to be black with a red logo, smaller than this. It'll say Flying in Air, and it will be embroidered. So they're really nice, really thick, 100% cotton shirts. They're really nice. I do all the order fulfillment myself through Etsy, and Etsy makes it easy for me to send stuff overseas because it does all the postage calculations for me, and just makes it a lot easier for me to do all that. The delay, any delay in shipping, it'll be because that I do it in batches, but I usually try to get it turned around within a day or two. So thank you very much for that. Teespring did all the order fulfillment themselves, except that they waited a really long time to ship, and honestly, I just didn't think it was a good deal. I really wish that YouTube would stop pushing them. Let's see, one other thing related to the channel in general. I just want to make sure I'm still showing up here because it's so bright. Yeah, there I am. I recently wrote a post on the community tab on the channel, giving the bad news about my recent flight with Nick Zentner. He's a geologist out of Ellensburg. Nick is a great guy, and we had a great conversation on the flight, and he talked about all these different things along the Columbia River in Wenatchee all the way down to Vantage. And it was a great flight, and the problem is when I got home, I discovered that the channel that had the audio and also everything facing forward basically crapped out right after it left my neighborhood. So the meat of what we wanted was not recorded. And this was real hard for me to take because the cost of this flight came out of my pocket. And a lot of folks have been commenting in the various videos saying that the reason they don't fly helicopters is because it's so expensive. I hear you. It is expensive. And a lot of times, like when I do cherry drying, somebody else is paying me to fly. When I went down to the Gorge Amphitheater in Cave B in today's video, again, somebody was paying me to fly. So it you know, wasn't a big deal. But the flight I did with Nick, which came out to a total of about 2 hours, including the time it took me to go get him and bring him back, that came out of my pocket. So when it doesn't turn into a video that I can use, oh, it's like a stab in the back. And I mentioned this in the comments, and the folks said that I should get onto Patreon. And, you know, I've been thinking about something like Patreon for a while, but YouTube has just launched this new thing called memberships. My channel qualifies for this, and it's basically Patreon, but within YouTube. And I'm thinking that it'll make it easier for me to deliver perks to the people who decide they want to join up. So I'm going to be launching that probably this week. I would think maybe as soon as tomorrow. That would be Monday. This way, that if you folks, the folks that do want to support me and help me pay for all this flight time that's coming out of my pocket, they can do that through memberships, and they can get some additional perks. And I could, you know, list a couple of them. I have my cheat sheet here, and there will be a video discussing memberships as well. You know, things like members-only videos and having your comments automatically approved and things like that. Also discounts on merchandise if you want to do that. What I want to stress here, and I'll stress it in that video, is that if you don't become a member, you're still going to get what you're getting now, which is hopefully a point of view cockpit video every Sunday. That's what I shoot for. And then extra videos, extras videos during the week if I can get time to make them. And I try to do at least one of those a week. This week was about the tail rotor, the anti-torque pedals, which everyone seemed to really like my shoes. And I like my shoes too. So that's what's coming, and that'll help me to raise some money to afford that flight time. It'll also help me to afford flight time when I'm traveling this winter. The helicopter is going to stay home. I'm traveling. I will be going places where I can either rent a helicopter or fly with a friend, and this will help me, you know, I'll bring the cameras along and hopefully get some videos for you folks of new and exciting places, because Washington must be getting kind of old by now. At least this section from where I live down to Cave B or the Gorge, because it seems like I'm flying that section all the time. That and Ellensburg, I don't know what's going on with that. So that is my pre-chat chatter. And I have not looked at a single comment that you guys have sent me, and darn it, I will definitely need my glasses to read this. So, and hopefully my iPad won't roast. I'm going to be looking at the comments on my iPad. So let's see, what time is it? Oh, I still got 6 minutes to blather on about stuff before I answer questions. Well, I guess I can answer some early questions. Let's see. I'm scrolling backwards. I do want to take a poll. How many people here are from the UK or Europe? I specifically scheduled this chat early so that we could have folks from east of here, way east of here, get in and join the fun without having to stay up in the middle of the night. And I see that Cute Dogs is from Wales. Hi. And let's see who else. I got somebody from Germany. Tobite. Okay, I got somebody from India, which is way east. So east, it's almost west. It's probably more west. Let's see. Cape Town. Hello, Cape Town. That would be Picture and Tear or Tear. Let's see, where else? I'm just going through them all. Louisiana's really not that far east. It's a little east. Brazil. Hello, Brazil. Southern California. I may as well just read them all off. The U.S.-Mexican border, which side? Is there a wall there? We won't go there. Spain, hello Spain. There is a Malaga in Spain. I'm in Malaga, Washington. Czech Republic, hello. Let's see. It won't go. I'm trying to go to the names. All right, I'm reading the comments. I shouldn't read the comments. Brazil again, hello Brazil. Ireland, hello Ireland. Let's see, Ireland. Okay, I'm not answering questions yet. I'm just saying hello. India again, Poland, Germany, Ireland, Northern Ireland, UK. Let's see, Norway, hello Norway, New Jersey, yay! I lived in New Jersey for most of my life. Where in New Jersey? I'm from Jersey, you from Jersey? What exit? Sweden, Connell, Washington, which I don't know where that is, Dallas, Texas, Norway. I hope the wind is not getting into the microphone. I wanted to mention about that too. Northern Ireland, Indiana, New Jersey, Long Island. I lived in Long Island for a while too. Kings Park. Also Hempstead, I went to school there. So let me tell you about my video setup, and if the wind is starting to get to be an issue, just speak up or text up, whatever. It started out as a beautiful day. It's a gorgeous day. I put the camera so you can see behind me, see the view, watch my hummingbird feeder if I happen to get boring. Unfortunately, the wind kicked up. Now, my deck is L-shaped, so I was able to move everything over to an area of the deck where it would not be in the wind. But now, of course, the wind is shifted too, so I don't know how bad it is. So let me know if it's bad, and I would have to move stuff again. Of course, I have to look at your codes here. Audio's good. I had bought a microphone that connects to my phone, and it has a windscreen on it. They call that a dead cat. You can see the wind. It's all in my hair. I see some Florida, Massapequa, Atlanta, Hoboken. Let's see. Go backwards here, forwards now. Fort Myers. Not too long ago, back in early May, on a cruise on the Inside Passage on a really small boat. I treated myself to this extremely expensive, amazing trip, and I recommend it. The company's called Northwest Navigation. They do a cruise on a boat, a 90-year-old wooden boat with the original engine, and they go all the way up from Bellingham, Washington, all the way up to Ketchikan. It takes 12 days, and the reason it takes 12 days is because they do it at 6 knots. So if you like slow, they've got you covered. We saw whales, we saw dolphins, we saw porpoises, seals, different kinds of seals, all kinds of birds, eagles, obviously. So it was very cool, and I recommend it, but it was really expensive. But you know, every once in a while, you got to treat yourself. Treat yourself to something that you'll remember the rest of your life. That's what I think. Okay, so it's close enough time for me to start. Let me just see. I did want to talk briefly about my channel stats because I'm kind of proud of them. First of all, a lot of you folks don't know this, but I have had this YouTube channel since November 6th, 2006. That is nearly 13 years. That's a long time. Just as a comparison, though, I've been blogging since October 2003, so that's 3 years longer. I've had 50 video uploads and then 5 live, including this chat, which gets uploaded. My channel's had 11.6 million views, which is freaking awesome, especially when you consider that one video in particular, which is my home to airport video, had 9.4 million views so far. That's the video that woke me up to the fact that people were actually interested in this kind of content, being able to see from the inside of a cockpit, flying from place to place, something that I take for granted because I do it all the time, and other people, I don't even think about it. They never do it. So it's kind of, it kind of woke me up, and that's what got me making new content. So with that said, I will start taking questions. Is it true that you, I'm not going all the way back. I'm just doing whatever's on my screen right now. So if you had a question and you want to re-ask it, you can. Just keep in mind that I'm not going to answer questions that I answered in my last video, live chat, because it would waste a lot of time, and it's already on there. Just go watch that one. So a person says, gotcha, says, is it true you need $20,000 to be able to fly a helicopter? No, it's not true. You can go to your local flight school. You can get an intro flight, probably for $150, $200, I don't know. And they will let you, they'll do a little ground school with you, and then they'll let you sit in the helicopter and do the controls. You'll sit in the pilot seat, and you'll fly with the flight instructor, and you could do that for a lot less than $20,000. So that's, and I've been thinking about this a lot, So many people have been telling me that they want to fly helicopters. You can go fly a helicopter, save up your money, you know, a couple $100, go to your local flight school and take an introductory flight. You will be able to get an idea of what it's all about. And maybe it's true, maybe you can't afford the lessons. Becoming a private pilot in a helicopter is going to cost you at least $10,000 for that flight certificate, probably even more. But that doesn't mean you can't go for intro flights. It doesn't mean you can't go for lessons once in a while. You don't have to. I mean, it would be nice to go for lessons and then be a pilot and be able to fly on your own. But there's nothing to stop you from spending a couple of $100 a couple of times a year to fly with a flight instructor and get the experience. You know, go for it. Experience all kinds of stuff. So let's see. Okay, let's see now. I'm trying to go back to, of course, I think I answered my operating costs for my helicopter on the other video, and if I didn't, there will be a video about that, so I'm not going to answer that now. And I also answered why I started flying helicopters, I think, back then. Let's see, scariest moment I've had while flying was when I crashed. You know, when you're flying along and not paying attention at night, like an idiot, and then you look up from what's distracting you and you see a row of trees in front of you, that's kind of scary, especially when you proceed then to go through them. It wasn't scary like terrifying in the moment, but thinking back on it, it was pretty scary. That's that, and I don't really like to talk too much about the accident. I crashed, I did something dumb and I crashed. 95% or more of crashes are caused by stupid pilots. Pilots doing something dumb, either in flight or before flight, and I was one of those pilots. And I've blogged about other pilot accidents and criticized them for being dumb, and when I blogged about mine, I criticized myself for being dumb because I was dumb. The insurance of my helicopter is $15,000 a year. Somebody asked about that. Somebody recommends that you get your medical before wasting money, and that's true if you want to become a pilot. If you just want to experience the flight, you don't need a medical for that, I don't think. You know, you're flying with a flight instructor, so if you just want to experience, you don't have to get a medical. But if you want to become a pilot, then yeah, get your medical, because if you can't pass a medical, then you can't be a pilot. So that's actually a pretty good point. My industry, my primary business, somebody asked here, Down C 212 asks, how significantly would a recession or an economic downturn impact your sector of the industry? My sector of the industry is agriculture. I make 90% of my money as a pilot doing cherry drying. So I have a really short season, and it's mostly the same clients every year. And we had an economic downturn. I started in the business in 2008, and which we were in the middle of the Great Recession, and it did not impact my business. My business continued to grow. So what would happen is I would get less calls for tours, the recreational stuff, which in all honesty, I'm really not trying to track that stuff down anymore. But the agricultural work I do would probably not be impacted. Let's see. Again, operating costs, all the operating cost stuff, if I didn't cover it in my previous video, Ask Me Anything video, it will come out in a video about operating costs, which is coming soon, including my cost of operations. Sorry about pointing in the camera like that. And yes, I am a Hofstra alumni. I graduated, I won't tell you when. The R44 lasts 12 years or 2,200 hours, and at that point it needs an overhaul. 12 years or 2,200 hours, whichever comes first. My helicopter has 120 hours left on it before I need that overhaul, which is another reason why every single flight hour I do right now is precious, because I cannot afford to get it overhauled this year. I need to get through a whole nother cherry season, which means this time next year is when I'll be considering, be ready for an overhaul. And so I need to keep my flight hours minimized. So every time I go for a flight with the cameras on board, I sure want those cameras to perform. And I mentioned that earlier. If you missed the very beginning of this chat, you'll go back and watch that, and you'll have me talking about that, kind of whining a little bit. Let's see. I have logged about 3,700, 3,800 hours, something like that. Most of that's in R44. The second most would be R22, and the third most would be Bell 206L Long Ranger, which I flew at the Grand Canyon in 2004. I've got about 350 hours in that. No, my helicopter does not work during the winter. I used to take it on frost control, but I don't do that anymore. And when it's not cherry season, I tend to goof off an awful lot. Today I'm going, after I finish this, and then I've got to turn over my Airbnb tent, which is out there. Once I do that, I'm meeting some friends in my Jeep, and we're going to go kind of off-roading, back-roading, four-wheel driving, whatever, up in the mountains behind my house, which will be fun. I also make and sell jewelry, and that's mostly my source of income in the wintertime, is doing the jewelry thing. And I travel around and I stay on BLM land. I live on the cheap in my truck camper, hang out with friends, do a lot of kayaking. I really goof off a lot, but I also do other stuff. Is there competition or an issue? Is a competition issue here? It only is for cherry drawing, because I have a major competitor. We're on very good terms, but there's still a competitor, and they generally hire 20 to 30 helicopters, and they cover way more acreage than me. I'm the little fish in the medium-sized pond, and it hasn't affected me negatively yet. As far as the tour stuff, no, I'm the only game in town for a lot of stuff. Which is unfortunate, because I'm trying to minimize my flight time because of that overhaul coming up. And is there a greater need than availability? Related to that, yeah, I am the only fish in this, for these particular types of things right here. There's definitely not enough work. I mean, I could not, if I didn't have cherry drawing, I could not survive as a helicopter pilot here, or most places. Let's see. Somebody is complimenting me, and you're making me blush. Don't make me blush. What about taking a pilot that needs time build to defray costs? I used to do that when I took the helicopter on cross-country flights. I would offer a pilot. I had to be a pilot because I'm not a CFI, so I can't do flight training. If you're sitting next to me manipulating the controls, you have to be a pilot, and you have to have your SFARs all set up for R44. And I used to do that, and I used to do it for as cheap as $250 an hour. The problem was I'd advertise it, and sometimes nobody would respond, or sometimes somebody would, oh yeah, I'm in, and then 3 days before the flight they'd cancel, and then I'd be stuck. So I decided, screw that, I'm not gonna bother anymore, because it's just not worth it. And nowadays I don't do long flights, although I will be taking it to overhaul probably this time next year, and that'll be, if I go back to Arizona for that, that's a 10-hour flight. $300 an hour will get you there, so keep it in mind. I don't have a fancy lifestyle over the wrong. Oh, okay, I read that wrong. You admire my lifestyle over the normal rat race. You know what? Thank you. I love my lifestyle. I wish more people could do it. I'm sure more people could do it. The problem is that people, and my ex-husband, and I think about my ex-husband all the time when I say this, there are certain people who like the comfort of a regular paycheck. Having their health insurance covered, knowing that if they get sick and miss a few days of work, they're still going to get a paycheck. There are people that really need that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm fortunately not one of those people, because if I don't work, I don't make money. When my helicopter crashed and I had to get a new one to keep working, so there's major expenditures. My health insurance costs a fortune. There's all these drawbacks to it, but you got to weigh the pros and the cons. I've been doing freelance work since 1990, which is before I started flying, well before I started flying helicopters, and I've made it work for myself. And back when I was married, I was trying to get my ex-husband, my future ex-husband, to make it work for him, but he did not want to let go of that paycheck. And that's his thing, and so we're separate now, and that's fine with me. I'm having a much better time. So as far as the lifestyle goes, life's what you make it. A lot of times we have things going against us. Don't think of them as roadblocks, think of them as hurdles. If you want something bad enough and you work hard and smart to get it, you have a really good shot. And I think that I'm kind of an example of that. I did not come from a moneyed family. Everything I've got, I made for myself. So let's see. That's my lifestyle lecture. What time is it? Okay, we got some time. Let's see now. We're trying to get, let's see. Why are pilots speaking so fast on the radio? That is such a funny question. The reason is at some airports, there's so much radio traffic that you have to talk fast to get your word in. And the best example of that, man, and I don't know if you could tune into it, but there's a website, what's it called? Something ATC. And you have to just track it down, and you could tune into different airports to listen to the live stuff. Listen to Deer Valley Airport in North Phoenix, that's DVT, KDVT, or listen to Prescott Airport in Prescott, Arizona, that's KPRC. Rapid fire communications, because they're both airports with a lot of flight schools, a lot of students, and man, I used to hate flying there because I'm not accustomed to getting in like that. So listen to a couple of those, but it's because you just have to get your words in. And I've been criticized by people because there's all these experts on the internet that are telling me I don't make my radio calls right, or I say too much, or I don't say enough, or I don't do it as often. And I just got to remind everybody that I live in a rural area. There's hardly ever any traffic here. You listen for the other traffic, you make your calls, you listen if there's any responses, and you kind of build your plan around that. I'm also flying a helicopter, which tends to be low level rather than an airplane, so I'm not in their traffic. And yeah, sometimes you get wordy. My thing is just to communicate what's going on, so there's that. If I could go back in time, would I choose to be a pilot or something else? This is my third career. The jewelry making might be my fourth. It's shaping up that way. And if I could go back and do it over, you know, I did not like my first career, which was as a financial analyst. I have an accounting degree. My second career was as a freelance writer, and I did extremely well enough to learn to fly helicopters and to buy a helicopter. I would rather not write about computers, which is what I wrote about. My third career as a pilot, I love it. I wish I could have started it sooner. And the jewelry thing is probably going to take me into old age unless the arthritis kicks in real bad. And I did mention somewhere about deciding to become a helicopter pilot. My favorite thing about being a pilot is being able to get in the aircraft and go where I want to go. And you could do this to a certain extent with a small plane, but with a helicopter, it's that freedom on steroids. Because I can go down lower to the ground, legally go down lower to the ground to check things out. I can circle really tight to check things out. I could fly up narrow canyons. I can land in my friend's yard. I can land in my yard. Things like that are, there's a lot of freedom there. And I am a born explorer, whether like today I'll be going out in my Jeep and I'll be exploring. So I can explore on the ground, I can explore on a hike, I can explore in a helicopter, I can explore with my drone. I just want to explore all the time, and the helicopter makes it really easy and fun to do. So that's what I like most about being a pilot. Some people have asked about the jewelry, and I'll probably have to do a little short video about that. I basically work with gemstones, cabochons, which are polished rocks, and I use sterling silver or copper wire to frame them and make them into mostly pendants, but I also work with metal, sterling silver and copper, and also fine silver to make earrings. And actually I made this one, I don't know if you can see it. I took off the other ones that I was wearing, but I'll just bore you guys with that one in a separate video. And the jewelry is online, except I can't keep the website updated, so I don't even want to share the URL. Maybe I'll do it in the comments for this. I will not upgrade to an R66 because I'm barely able to afford the one I've got now. Why would I want to spend twice as much money? I don't. I'm doing fine with my R44. And to those of you who hate R44s and want to bash R44s all the time, you have no clue. That's all I got to say. I will probably not be doing any more Apple books, mostly because there's no market for them. If I do, they'll be short and self-published. It is, and freelance life is the way to go if you can do it. But you know, it's hard work. People who think you just, you know, yes, it's true. I do goof off most of the winter, but that's because I make a lot of sacrifices in the summer, and I spent a lot of money and time and effort to get to the position I'm in, where I can earn enough in the summer months to take me through the rest of the year. Like when I was a writer, that wasn't the case. The writer, I had to keep writing. I wrote 10 books in 1 year because I just had to keep working. So don't think that being a freelancer means you just sit back and the money rolls in. It means that you're constantly looking for your next gig. And that's what it's all about. And it's not for everybody, for sure. Let's see. Live ATC, yes, that's the one. Thank you for Cody and Clint. Both said ATC Live or Live ATC. I think it's actually Live ATC. Definitely check out that website. Let's see. Are Robinsons the best for cherry drying? I think they are. It's the most bang for the buck. You're getting a lot of downwash, and it's the cheapest of that size helicopter to fly. I started flying when I was, I think 37 is when I started learning to fly. So kind of late in life. And then I became, I got my commercial, I think I was 39. Let's see. Do I need to put my chopper on a trailer? You know, I used to land on a platform at my house. I don't do that anymore for various reasons. It's not that hard to do. There's a video on my channel showing a Yui getting lifted onto a trailer. That trailer was an extremely tight fit, and I would not want to be trying to land the Yui on there. If a trailer is a tight fit and there's no room for error, you want to get it on there some other way if you can. There have been accidents with people falling off the helicopter, sliding off of a dolly or off of a trailer. There have been some fatal accidents. So you have to have the skills and be really careful if you're doing it. Do I think it's hard? It really depends on the trailer. And the wind, you can't have a crosswind or tailwind. You need to kind of be facing into the wind and things like that. Land in my area ranges all different prices. The guy across the road from me is selling his shop on 20 acres. I think he's asking $349 right now. People look, but they don't buy. I can't figure that out. Let's see. Hello, France. If our president is there, please keep him. Oh, I didn't say that. Let's see. Texas, hi Texas. Who probably got offended by my last comment. Sorry. You know, if you're doing contract work, it depends. Down C212S about how much to expect on contract work. I should mention right off the bat that if you want to make money with a helicopter, contract work is the way to go. Get a couple of good contracts that guarantee you a certain amount of work or standby pay or whatever, and you will make money. Waiting around for somebody to call you because they want to take their 12-year-old son on a 15-minute ride around town is not how you make money in helicopters. I don't even do that anymore. I actually won't turn a blade unless I get paid for an hour, other than cherry drying. So how much can you expect to pay? It depends on the contract. I should just make a note here. I start the guys that are working for me. They have to bring their own helicopter, and I don't pay them for the time it takes to get up here, or I don't pay for their lodging or anything. They get at least 4 weeks out of me, and I start them at $450 a day. So $450 a day times 28 days, and then take out of that your travel costs to get up here, your lodging and meal costs while you're up here, transportation costs while you're up here. That's what you can expect. If the smart ones bring their own RVs, and that saves them a ton of money. That's how I did it before I moved up here. Let's see. It's a concern living in Los Angeles that I will obstruct the flight path of a helicopter with my drone. Can you fly below 400 feet? Yeah, I'm allowed to fly any altitude I want. If I want to fly 100 feet, I can fly 100 feet. I have right of way over drones. I'm a drone pilot, commercial drone pilot. I know the rules. Helicopters have right of way over drones. You should be constantly listening for helicopters. You should keep that drone within view. And if you hear a helicopter coming, take that thing and bring it down. You can descend faster than a helicopter. Bring it down. Make sure you're not in the way. If a helicopter or an airplane for that matter hits your drone, you are responsible, not the pilot. We can't see you. Your drones are tiny. And I'm on both sides of the fence here because I'm also a drone pilot. But man, those rules are in place for a reason, and it's up to you to avoid the aircraft. So, you see, I'm getting angry. Don't make me get angry. Let's see. Do you think becoming a helicopter pilot would interfere with one's plan to start and maintain a well-functioning family? Well, yes. If you want your kids to live in the house, and with their mom or whatever, or dad, if maybe you're a woman, and go to the same school all the time and all that other stuff. Generally, the good-paying helicopter jobs require travel. So that means that you're either on a schedule, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, fighting fires or down in the Gulf or whatever, or a week on, a week off, flying tours at the Grand Canyon or whatever, or going up to Alaska for a whole season to fly tours up there. That's going to be required. If your family is, if you don't mind homeschooling, and your wife's into that, or girl or husband for that matter, I keep saying wife because most helicopter pilots are men. The homeschooling, having your family travel with you, man, I think that would be kind of cool. So it depends on how far outside the box you're willing to think and take it. It's hard. It's hard if you think you need to be if you want a regular lifestyle with all that travel, it's not going to happen. Keep in mind though that once you get to a certain point, you may be able to qualify for a job as an EMS pilot in your city, in which case your time on would still be in your town, which would be kind of neat. And yeah, I know there's always the thumbs down. There's always the people that have to complain. There's always the people that tell you how to fly when they've actually never ever sat in a helicopter. And yeah, I know that. You just ignore them, let it roll off their back. The really offensive ones, their comments don't appear here. And I do that not just for my sanity, but also for yours. I would love to fly back east, by the way, Denny. It would be a great thing because that's where I'm from. Do I see passenger drones becoming a reality and disrupting the helicopter industry? Yes, but either not in my lifetime or not in my flying lifetime. So I'm not worried about it, except as a passenger or somebody on the ground with that thing flying over me. That's kind of scary. The roughest landing, the one that comes to mind immediately as I landed off airport for a guy that wanted to show some real estate, and the ground was kind of rocky and uneven, and I had a really slopey landing. And I landed, and they got out and they walked away and did their business, and I shut down. And then I went to step out of the helicopter, and as I stepped out, apparently it was my weight preventing the helicopter from going backwards. And as I stepped out off the helicopter, off the skid, the helicopter started to go backwards, and I jumped on the front of the skid to prevent that from happening. And I wasn't scared until that happened, and then I stayed in the helicopter. So that was the scariest on the ground. I can't think of any really scary landings. If something is super scary, I just go around. I don't. Roughest conditions, anything with a really, really strong wind or gusty wind is rough, especially when you're landing, especially if it's a crosswind. My best flying experience, imagine flying around on a beautiful no wind day, especially like early in the morning or late in the afternoon when the light is low and the shadows and the light and everything's gorgeous, no wind. Imagine that's the best. And anywhere really, except someplace super boring. And then the worst is, I remember a flight I had to do from, where was I? I was coming from the west, going east, going back to Wickenburg in Arizona, and I had to come across the desert, and I got into the worst turbulence I've ever gotten into. They were so bad that I was concerned about landing because the updrafts and the downdrafts had me thinking that if I tried to come in for a landing, the downdrafts would throw me into the ground. So I had to basically just deal with it. And that was a very unpleasant flight. Turbulence, I hate turbulence. It just takes all the fun out of flying. I've also had some pretty bad scud running situations where the wind's got to be in the microphone now. The wind keeps shifting. Scud running where you're flying and there's low visibility and you're trying to get around it or through it, and that's not a fun thing either. No, the fire department has not gotten back to me with a tourist, so I'm thinking the answer is no, because he had my card and he should have gotten back to me. So I'm going to have to try finding someone else to do that. Let's see. It would be a great thing to set up a camera on the instrument panel. You tell me how to do that and I will, because I've been thinking about it a long time, and it's just not something that's super easy. But I haven't given up yet. I'm still thinking about it. I have not had a close call with a UAV, but if I did, you better believe I'd be reporting it. We don't have police helicopters in this area. Let's see. Okay, you're welcome. Everyone who says thanks, you're welcome, and I really do want to keep doing this. And those of you who say that you always wanted to be a pilot, I had a friend who got his helicopter pilot's license on his 65th birthday. So it's never too late. The one thing you do need to have to be a pilot, as someone mentioned earlier, is you need good health. So if you also need to be lightweight to get in a training helicopter. So if you weigh more than 200 pounds, get on a diet, you'll feel better. Trust me on that. And then you could try, right? What the heck? Let's see. I have fallen way behind. Okay, Barry G, bye. He's probably gone already. I think that I've got 3 minutes left. Let me just do 151 pounds. You have a definite future as being a helicopter pilot. And the reason, and I wrote a series of blog posts in my blog, which is aneclecticmind.com or marialanger.com, which is a lot easier to get to. And if you search in there, you should find a series of posts, and I'll try to remember to link to it in the comments for this video. It's called So You Want to Be a Helicopter Pilot or something like that, and it's 10 or 11 posts, and one of them talks about weight, and what it says is you got to be light. 180 pounds or less is best. 200 pounds or less is almost required. And then the benefit is if you are super light, like 151 pounds, they will love you as a flight instructor, and flight instructors are the guys that are the way you build time. So you need 1,000 hours or more to get a real job. Flight instructing is how you get that time. And if you are 151 pounds, you will definitely get that time. Plus, when then you get into a regular job, there was a pilot I knew at the Grand Canyon, very, very tiny Japanese lady. I don't know if she's still there. And she weighed 105 pounds. And what they would do is they'd have a flight, which another pilot would be doing, and then at the last minute, they'd have to add another person on, and that person made it too heavy. They'd pull the pilot out and stick her in, and she'd be able to do the flight because she was so light. It was like having nothing on board. So there's a lot of benefits to being a lightweight, physical lightweight. Let's see. What else? I have not flown. The only helicopters I've ever flown is, I learned on an R-22. I've flown a Schweitzer, a 300, a 269. I've flown Bell 47. I've flown a Bell, not a Bell, MD or Hughes 500C. I've flown recently a Huey. That video is coming. It's not perfect, but it's coming. What else did I fly? Well, obviously the Long Ranger at the Grand Canyon, R-44, Raven 1, Raven 2. What else have I flown? I think that's it. Yeah, so I haven't flown any of the really tiny ones, or I've definitely not flown. Oh, I've also flown what the heck was it called? Roadaway. I flew a Roadaway. I wrote an article for Aviation Magazine about their training program, and I got an hour of training in one of those. Roadaway is a home built, although I think they have a commercial model now, one that they build for you. The highest I've ever been in the air, obviously in an airliner, but I don't think that's what you mean. I have taken my R-22, and I think my R-44 was up there once, to 9,600 feet, and that's over sea level, not over the ground. And that thing vibrates like a son of a gun. It is probably the scariest thing you can do in a helicopter, light helicopters, to fly really high over sea level, because the density altitude is so, the air is so thin. That's about the highest. In general, I try not to fly more than 3,000 or 4,000 feet above ground level, and that's usually on photo flights when I have to. Would I fly an MD 500? I'd fly anything. I'd basically fly anything unless some guy built it in his garage. Then I'm not interested. So yeah. People in your town complain about noise? Not too often. I don't. I think I had a comment. I wrote it somewhere or said it somewhere about somebody in downtown Wenatchee who was complaining when we did rides. But in general, no. Let's see. The best way to find great landing areas around the country? I don't know. I think we need a website for that. It's a funny thing because I manage an Airbnb, and if you saw my video of Ellensburg to a friend's house, that's an Airbnb that my pilots usually stay at during cherry season, and they land their helicopter right in the front, kind of where I landed. And I think that would be a great destination for helicopter owners if they wanted to get away. I think what we need is a website that just has all these places where helicopter pilots are welcome to come and land and do stuff on the ground. That would be very cool. So here, start that up, and I'll be a contributor. Am I allowed to fly in different countries? I don't really know. I've only flown in this country. I might need to get some certification in those countries. I have never really wanted to. The worst weather condition I've flown in, it would be bad visibility. Visibility of quarter mile. I won't go if it's more than less than that. You have to be able to see, and then of course you have to adjust your speed as necessary. Engine-free rotation. You're talking about auto rotations? I have a whole Landworth. I have a whole video about that. I practiced them, I think, 8 times. So it's called an auto rotation. Okay, I think I'm going to let it go because I don't want this to go too long. And remember, I started 15 minutes early. If you came at the right time, not the early time, you can go back and watch that when it comes up. It should take a little while for YouTube to spit that out. If you are not a subscriber, why the heck not? I don't always bore people with this in-your-face video stuff. Usually it's cockpit point of view flying. There are 50 videos to choose from to get a flavor for what the channel is all about. I recommend mostly the last 20, the ones that I've done within the past year, 2 years maybe. Those are the ones I recommend the most. There will be more stuff. I'm launching channel membership this coming week in an effort to try to raise some money so I can fly, so I can afford to fly without a client paying for part of it, and also so I can afford to fly someone else's helicopter, flight schools or whatnot, over the winter when I'm not here, and that'll give you views for other stuff. So those of you who've voiced concern that want to support me, they mentioned Patreon and whatnot. Channel membership is what I'm going to be trying, and if you don't want to go there, and I understand that, you're not going to miss anything. I'm still going to do the point of view videos. I'm still going to do the extras. The channel members will get a little extra content. That content will probably roll around to regular members 6 to 12 months after it releases for the channel members. And if you want to support me with a one-time thing, buy a hat. They're nice. The black ones are coming soon. Hats, embroidered, really nice. Black and maroon are coming soon. There's still some of these light-colored ones. Even buy a sticker, $4 plus $1 shipping. If you buy like 20 of them, it's still only $1 shipping. And because I'm going through Etsy, I can ship all over the world. So those of you in Europe and Asia and South America and the UK, which I guess you're part of Europe still, I don't know, or Canada or wherever, Antarctica even, I assume I could ship to Antarctica. Your support, anything you can do to support me is really greatly appreciated. I hope you enjoy the videos, subscribe, and I hope you'll tune in the next time I blabber like this, and hopefully I won't squint as much, and it'll be in a better spot. So take care. Thanks very much, everybody. Let's see if I can figure out how to turn this thing off. Now you're going to have me squinting right in your face. Bye.